So thank you all for joining us today for our color painter and traffic presentation. We are co-hosting this with our special guest, Nikkalite. We have Anthony Aceta that's joining us. We also have our team, Rick Robertson and Peter Spilger. My name is Michael Maxwell. We are part of the Mimaki color painter team, and we would like to talk to you today about traffic signage and regulated and non-regulated. So we're going to go through some details there and show you some of the things the color painter can do. As I mentioned before, we will be fielding Q&A at the end of the presentation. So during the presentation, if you have any questions or you want to ask anything about the color painter or the films, please feel free to use the chat window at your discretion. If you want us to follow up with you after the presentation, we're happy to take a private message and call you once the presentation's over. So without further ado, Rick, Peter, I'll turn the conversation over to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for hosting. I greatly appreciate it. Tony from Nikkalite, thank you for joining us today. Maybe you can share with us a little bit about Nikkalite sheeting, and then more specifically about your relationship with ATSA traffic membership team.
Absolutely, I'm happy to do it. Thanks for the invite and helping me today. ATSA members, thank you for being here, and also all the dealers. Nippon Carbide Industries and the Nikkalite reflective film has been in North America with our Cerritos headquarters for about 35 years. And so we've got a very good penetration all throughout the United States and the North American market. My first job out of college was actually working for Nikkalite, selling reflective film for traffic signs and commercial graphics. So we've got a great team of people at Nikkalite, and we've got technical people, we've got delivery people for our warehouse, and we want to make sure this relationship with Mimaki goes extremely well, and we're very excited about it. Nikkalite reflective film encompasses product for traffic signs and commercial graphics, decals. So we're going to talk a little bit about traffic sign product along with commercial graphics, and you're going to see that this Mimaki and Nikkalite relationship is going to have some outstanding benefits for you.
Great, outstanding. I appreciate it, Tony. Tony, maybe you can just kind of delve in a little bit on the regulated versus non-regulated signage, which is kind of the bulk of what this presentation is about. Obviously, some members of ATSA are already familiar with the distinction, but maybe you can drill down a little bit on your sheeting and how it relates to that. Before you do that, I do want to mention that the consumption of reflective material is almost 150 million square feet per year, which is extraordinary. So it's a very large addressable market and a growing market. So with that said, if you could drill down on that and also on the importance of making sure that there is compliance with ASTM.
I'm very happy to do that. So Nikkalite manufactures multiple grades of the reflective film that meet the ASTM standards, FHWA, meet the manual uniform traffic control devices for your regulated signs. If you're driving down the roadway, you see that stop sign, there are various regulations put out by the FHWA that those signs have got to meet. So your speed limit sign, your orange construction signs, your yellow warning signs, so on and so on. There are specifications that the feds have put out that product needs to meet. We manufacture those type of products, so you can feel very comfortable with Nikkalite line. When it comes to the non-regulated product, you can have product that is very beautiful graphics. You can make decals, you can make vehicle graphics, photographic type quality product on the reflective film with the Mimaki color painter to do the printing, that it just works outstanding. Very beautiful graphics once again. And once again, regulated or non-regulated, we have a solution that will help you and your team and your business to make outstanding product.
Outstanding. Thanks a lot, Tony. I appreciate that. I'm not going to go through this entire slide. It's pretty obvious. I want to, however, kind of give you the distinction between the traditional process that is very labor and time intensive. Obviously, cut reflective sheeting, when you go through the design art prep and the cut mask and all of that, is extremely time and labor intensive. This is why we're sort of gravitating over to the digital world. And there's a lot of advantages to moving over to digital. And I know that many in the ATSA community have already done that. Peter, I thought maybe we'd go through kind of a tick sheet of the advantages of going to digital printing.
Thank you, Rick. Absolutely. Digital printing's been around for well over 25 years, and the Seiko color painter Mimaki printer has always been a leader with the solvent technologies. We're able to print on a variety of substrates, whether it's a banner material or the high reflective material that we use in traffic signage. And think of the advantages. With traditional screen printing, you're using basically paint to spread over a material. You're screen printing them and cutting the materials out. And with a digital printer, we're printing directly onto the reflective material. And once it's printed, it's dried, it's ready to go. The printers print, cut, and you'll be ready to install immediately the same day. It's also very cost effective because you're only using a couple different medias to print on. And your ink costs are very inexpensive. They're about 25 cents a square foot to print on this material. So there's less machines that you're going to have in your shop. Your footprint's going to be smaller, and you're going to have a lot more flexibility in your shop itself. If you're a traditional sign shop, this means you can do more than just traffic signage. You can do posters, banners, safety signs, even fleet graphics. If you're currently in the graphics industry and you're doing car wraps or truck letters, this gives you the option of going into the sign industry and printing the outdoor durable signs, whether it's for traffic, apartment complexes, or shopping centers. So you're increasing your flexibility and your ability, and you're expanding your business. It's a great way to grow any business.
Outstanding. Thanks a lot, Peter. I appreciate it. So in addition to the extra ionizer that would come on board with our Nikkalite traffic printer, which effectively will eliminate any kind of static on retroreflective material, there's also a lot of other benefits around the color painter. Without going through all of the details, if you can do a couple of highlights, Peter, some takeaways on why someone might want to gravitate to the color painter.
Thank you, Rick. And behind me, I have an M64S traffic printer, a Nikkalite traffic printer. And this printer has the additional ionizers that you spoke about built into it. The ionizers reduce the static, that is created from the reflected film. This machine also has a take-up system that allows you to print uninterrupted printing, which means you can load all your signage on for the day, hook it up to the take-up system, and when it's done, it's done. You take it off the roll and it's ready to be trimmed and mounted. The printer itself is a 7-color digital printer. It uses a piezo print head. These are commercial style print heads. They're designed to last the life of the machine. Speaking of the life of the machine, the color painter has the longest parts warranty in the industry. It's a 3-year parts warranty on parts. And that's important. If you're running a traffic shop or a sign shop and your machine goes down, you don't want to have that added expense of having to purchase warranty parts because everything's included. So take up reel, a very robust printing system, 7-color ink, so you're going to be able to hit the full spectrum of ink colors without having to use spot colors, and the flexibility of printing traffic or graphic signage. It's a fantastic way, once again, to grow your industry and your business.
Before we go any further, I want to mention that we do have a couple of supported workflows. One is the Onyx Rip Center, which comes standard with the unit. If you combine that with Illustrator design program, you actually have a full workflow at that point, which is pretty easy to run. The other way to do that is with Flexi Sign and Print, in addition to Flexi Production Manager. So you've also got a rip and a design package that way. So if you're currently using Flexi, no worries. The color painter will certainly work in that environment. So they're the two supported workflows with the color painter. So I'm going to hand it back over to Tony. We do have a pretty aggressive warranty on the actual sheeting. And the way to get that is through the component levels that you see here on the screen. So with that, Tony, maybe you can share a little bit about that.
So Nikkalite recommends the prismatic retroreflective product, right 10-year durability associated with the Mimaki color painter. Those products are the 92,000 series crystal grade and the 94,000 series intensity microprismatic. Along with that, we actually manufacture a premium digital reflective film, which is a UV over laminate film that also has graffiti protection built into it. That's called FCAL. So once you put that FCAL or our ACAL over the surface of the digital prints, you actually get a 10-year warranty. If you're printing over black ink, you don't need to put the over laminate film over there because we don't have to worry about transparency and degradation of color or contrast. But with the colors, you do want to use a UV over laminate film. One other thing about the ATSA Association, we did come up with a digital print traffic sign specification. I was in charge of one of the committees working with the different reflective film manufacturers and printer manufacturers. There is a sign guide, and one of the things that we did come up with, anything that's going to be printed over a 3-year durability with transparent colored inks, you do want to use a UV over laminate film on there. So Nikkalite, along with the Color Painter product, is going to offer you a very high durable product with outstanding colors, great transparency, meeting the MUTCD specifications for regulatory signs.
Outstanding. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. We're really pleased that we have a couple of installs right now with the Texas DOT, and that's been working out fantastic. We also have a bunch of other installs all around the country. So I do want to recognize and acknowledge the color painter dealers who are on the line as well, and the service providers. I greatly appreciate all the support that you've given us through the years with this solution. With that said, though, I do want to bring it over to Peter, maybe to talk a little bit more about the Texas DOT reference site.
Thanks, Rick. The great state of Texas. What a hostile environment for signage. Anybody that works out west knows how difficult it is printing in the Arizona, Nevada, California, and Texas market. We're talking sand, wind, abrasion, high heat, cold temperatures, humidity. And for the state of Texas to put its rubber stamp and approval on the Color Painter printer is a huge, well, feather in our cap. We have a product that can withstand some of the harshest environmental standards, and it's the Color Painter. And part of it is our ink. The SX inks that come with the Color Painter printer are very, very durable. And the only way you can get those inks through this printer is using a robust printhead. You've heard me talk about our printhead and our printhead technology before that was developed by Seiko. This is the reason our printer exceeds and is better than all the other products out there, because we can put the ink pigments down on the material that lasts. That's a 10-year warranty. That's unheard of. So there's less time you're going to be spending replacing signs. There's going to be very little fadage with the colors. So you're going to be able to put up your sign in any environment, and it's going to stay, and we're going to stand behind it for 10 years. So thank you, Texas, for your endorsement of a great product.
Great. Thank you, Peter. I just quickly want to go through the Color Painter and sort of what we consider to be the competitive edge relative to other digital printers that are out there in the marketplace. It's very, very versatile. As Peter mentioned, we have full color graphics plus 6 traffic colors. So in addition to doing the brown and the black and the red, etc., we also have the ability to do a full gamut of colors. So if you're in a rest stop and you want to see the Taco Bell purple or the Dunkin' Donut pink, we can hit all of those colors without any problem. In addition to that, we have efficient and safer ink usage. So we use the variable drop size to have a real efficient usage of ink, in addition to Green Guard Gold certification. That's very important as far as low odor and making sure that we can put this printer in any environment that we need to. We also have better speed. So we're 20 to 40% faster than HP Latex and the Muto non-heater unit. We're also more reliable. We're the only manufacturer who stands behind a 3-year print hardware warranty. Most of the other manufacturers have a 1-year warranty. Our warranty also includes our industrial printhead that Peter reviewed with you. We're also completely compliant, as Tony mentions, so we can do regulated and non-regulated signage. We also have lower acquisition price. So we are lower than EFI VUTEC by far, in addition to the AGFA solution. We also have a 10-year media warranty, as we've mentioned several times, one of the best in the industries, and lower electrical cost versus HB latex. HB latex, as you might know, requires two 220 volts, which has a tendency to run hot. So, Peter, maybe you can close this out on this, and then we can start to get into some Q&A.
Thank you, Rick, and I appreciate you bringing all that up. One thing I really want to back up from a technical background, and many of you guys understand the need for quality products when you're buying capital equipment. This is a commercial printing device. It's a thoroughly well-built machine that's going to last much longer than the 3-year warranty. A lot of the printers that we see that are in the market today aren't lasting that long, where the color painter is going to last you 10 years, well past the warranty. So you have an opportunity to purchase a piece of capital equipment that will expand your business. It'll give you clean and clear and beautiful printing capabilities, and let's face it, make you more money. So less labor, better product, very fast. You can print 124 square feet an hour, which is unheard of in this industry. And on the graphics end, you can double or triple those speeds. So once again, the color painter offers you a solution that can expand your business and make you money.
All right. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. I'm going to hand it back over to Michael. We're going to close it out on a Q&A, and I think we might be able to boot up a video as well as we're doing the Q&A. Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple of questions here that were sent privately. So I won't call out the individual users here, but the first question is, which films again are the ones that are approved for traffic through the Nikkalite solution?
So via the specifications, minimum maintained retro reflectivity, there are various specifications around the United States, and Nikkalite makes most all of them. We've got a Type 1 engineer grade, which is still acceptable for stop signs. That is a 7-year glass bead engineer grade type product. We also have a very high quality prismatics. So it's a very open-ended question. It's hard to answer that specifically, but we make multiple grades of reflective film that meet those specifications.
Okay, yeah, I think the question was probably a little bit more geared towards the warranty, if I'm reading correctly.
Well, we have a component system, as I think we mentioned before. So it includes I don't know if you have the SKUs, Anthony, but in addition to our inkset system and the ionizers, we also have to use specific sheeting. And so, Tony, maybe you can address the sheeting piece of that.
Sure. So the ones that we are specifically recommending for the 10-year warranties, a 94,000 series high intensity micro prismatic, and the 92,000 series crystal grade, which is also a prismatic, that also comes in fluorescent yellow green for crosswalk type signs and school zone type signs, along with fluorescent orange for your work zone signs.
Yeah, thank you. Let me chime in as well. That 10-year warranty, as you can imagine, you would have to clearly laminate it with a certain laminate SKU as well from Nikkalite. In addition to that, we are offering the orange sheeting with black ink, 3-year unlaminated, which is very difficult to do. So
yeah, Rick, that's actually behind us on the printer right now. That's the 15,000 series. It's the medium high intensity engineering grade, and that meets all the ASTM Type 2 warranty needs. So that is a unlaminated product that can go directly onto a sign.
Great, thanks, Peter.
Perfect. And Peter, I guess this is a great segue for this next question. You just mentioned ASTM. The question is, are these printed jobs ASTM and MUTCD compliant?
Yes. I won't go into full detail. Each state, I believe, has some different characteristics or requirements. Tony, can you add to any of that?
Certainly. So when Nikkalite interacted with Mimaki, and to come up with the ink system, we made sure that we tested that for the specifications from the FHWA to ensure that it had proper color, which is extremely important because you don't want to have a pink stop sign, right? You want to make sure it's the right chromaticity coordinates or color. You want to make sure that it's got the proper transparency so that the reflectivity of the lights will shine to that sign and reflect back. So we made sure that was proper. We made sure that the proper contrast between the background of the color and the legend met the proper specifications by the Federal Highway Administration. So we've done a lot of that background, and you can feel very secure that the Nikkalite product, in conjunction with the Mimaki color painter, is going to do a great job for you on your regulated signs, as well as beautiful photographic type of graphics for your non-regulated signs.
Excellent. And that's another great segue. One of the other questions was about the ink. Actually, it's two different questions, but we can combine them into one. Specifically, what type of ink is it, and what colors are available? I know you mentioned 7 colors earlier. So, what are those colors?
I'll be happy to address that. It's an eco-solvent ink, but it's a heavy solvent ink. It uses a very large pigment, which gives it the outdoor durability and its depth. One of the impressive characteristics of our ink is if you run your fingers over a printed sheet, you can literally feel the ink on the material. It's a 7-color printer. Now, if you take a 4-color process, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, that equates to 16.7 million different color combinations. A 7-color ink smooths out the gray tones. What that allows us to do is, yes, we're going to be able to print every color in the sign world or in the traffic world, plus any color combination that you may need. So there's no restriction on your color capabilities, with the exception of perhaps a couple fluorescents, which is an industry that we really don't, that's not necessarily something you should run into. Plus its ability to print the very clear blacks and grays onto the colored media. So a 7-color printer will cover the entire color spectrum.
Excellent. So you mentioned cyan, magenta, yellow, black. I'm assuming light cyan, light magenta, and gray are the other colors, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, and to tackle that question more specifically on the traffic colors, in addition to hitting virtually every color on the Pantone level, we also, so it's brown, red, black, blue, yellow. I think I've got them all. There's 7 of them. And pardon me?
Green, I'm not sure if you said green.
Oh, green, yes, right. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so we have another question here, which is a great question. So the viewer is asking, is this machine for small runs? Their particular concern is that they don't see how this can compete with a large traffic shop that already has a screen printing process. Can you tackle that question, explain how the digital enhances or replaces screen printing?
Well, I'll let everyone chime in here. I'll just start by saying that, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And obviously, if you're doing thousands of stop signs, I would imagine the traditional way is probably fine for screen printing. However, if you are doing one-offs, there's no doubt about it that the color painter would be a quicker and more efficient solution. So there's several ways to do it, but clearly, if you're not doing a ton of signage in a production kind of environment, then a color painter would be a good alternative.
And Rick, if I may also add, in the large sign shops that I visited with the screen printing devices, they have a digital printer. That is a part of their combination of ability to print, because the short to medium term runs are done with the digital. And in reality, the cost of digital ink is equal to or less than the cost of traditional screen printings. So even the large screen printing operations are going to full digital shops.
Yeah, go right ahead, Tony.
Sure. Let's just say you're making screen painting signs. got multiple street name signs. And basically what you can do is you can work with your computer system, the software, by inputting that into your system. And then it's going to go over to the color painter and print those for you. Just imagine having to lay down individual letters, which is how they used to do it, or actually having to make individual screens for every street name sign. The color painter digital print system is just amazing when you can do your traffic signs with much greater efficiency, or any specialty type of sign. Maybe you've got a lot of verbiage in there. Now you can put that onto your computer, have it work with the software, and it prints it out beautifully.
Excellent, excellent. So that is another great segue to the next question, which is, what are some of the challenges that shops have had transitioning from an analog to a digital process?
Well, I'll be happy to address that. Rick, if I may, it's really learning the technology, the software, the design software. And what FlexiSign has done is they've built a program, a software program that's really catered to the outdoor signage industry. So they have the templates, the colors, everything's set and ready to go. So you're going to be training your screen printing operator to use more of a digital. You're going to go from analog to digital. And the software out there makes the transition very, very easy. You're going to bring in your images, you're going to size them out to the size in the template, and you're going to select print. Yeah, there is some training involved, of course, but it's minimal. And our softwares with the printer and the application softwares helps it make it very simple.
I might add one other thing too, is the old way that people were making traffic signs, there's still a lot of them. You had potentially hundreds of screens sitting around the sign shop, and they're working with solvent-based inks. And oftentimes the solvent-based inks have got harsh chemicals in there. And now after you screen, you've got to go back there and clean those screens. With the digital system, you eliminate a lot of that. It's much greater efficiency.
Excellent. So this question is for you. It's about the materials themselves. So what size are the rolls? What's the width and the length of the materials available in?
It's 50 yards. I'll let you answer that, Tony.
Certainly, the roll size typically are 50-yard lengths. In regards to the width, we typically manufacture them in 48-inch wide rolls, but we have the ability to give you 36-inch widths, 30-inch widths, 24-inch widths. We also have slitters at our facility in Cerritos, California, that will slit down to whatever size you need.
Excellent. So the next question is about the laminate. Obviously, the laminate would need to match those sizes as well. So the laminate is available in those same sizes you just specified, correct?
Yes, and I got to say, we absolutely, in my opinion, have got the best rubber laminates in the market. We were, I believe, the very first company to come up with, let's just say California, a premium protective over laminate film that has both UV and graffiti protection. Some companies actually have to have two over laminates, one for UV and one for graffiti protection. We have one solution and one product, which allows you to pay less money and less labor to put that on.
Yes, and if I might add, Mimaki has a laminator to match the color painter printer that can be available through the same dealer you purchased the printer through.
Excellent. So this question's for everyone. We have another one in the chat window. Does this meet Canadian traffic sign standards?
I've been told, and Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, that we are still going through some iterations to make sure that we meet compliance there. it certainly meets the American DOT standards.
It does, and we've passed their ink requirements, so we're almost there. We may already be able to sell it. I do know the ink is compatible with the Canadian market, which was our big step. And we have sold some machines through ND Graphics in that area, the Nikkalite solution.
Excellent. Okay, well, it looks like we covered quite a bit of ground here. Some of the highlights I have here, 128 square feet an hour, red, green, blue, brown, yellow, orange lights, no setup costs, easy to run, up to a 10-year warranty, ASTM and MUTC compliance, and they're available now in dealers throughout the North American market. Did we miss anything?
No, I think we covered it.
We covered everything.
Not only on the traffic sign product, but we've got some really great products for the commercial graphics market as well. So the reflective would give you 24/7 visibility as compared to a regular vinyl.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, that looks like that's all the questions we have. What a great round of questions here. Tony, thank you and the Nikkalite team for joining us. We certainly appreciate all of your insight in the partnership. Rick, Peter, thanks for constantly promoting the solution and being a value of a wealth of information for the project. So, any parting words for y'all?
No, just,
please
go ahead, Peter.
No, I just said, please get in touch for sample prints. We're going to have a demo machine here in the Southern California office. If anyone needs samples or questions, please get in touch with myself or Rick. I can provide my email here in the message box, and we'll be happy to help you out offline.
On behalf of Nikkalite, I just want to say thank you to the Mimaki team and everybody on the webinar. We certainly look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Tony.
Likewise. So for the people that are in the audience, thank you for your time today. To view information about the films, you can visit Nikkalite.com. That's Nikkalite.com. And for information about the color painter and all the great things that it can do with that film, you can visit us at MimakiUSA.com, MIMAKIUSA.com. I'll also post those in the chat window for you. And if we don't have any additional questions, I think we've covered all the content we intended to cover today.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Rick, Peter, we'll
thank you, sir.
see you soon. Thanks.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.